Welcome back to DHS Sports Center. I'm Ben Smith.
And I'm Will Bouvier.
On today's show, I'll be interviewing Coach White and quarterback Jackson Hart from the boys football team to talk about the upcoming Thanksgiving matchup between the Dartmouth Indians and the Fairhaven Blue Devils.
Later in the episode, you'll see another edition of Will's Weekly Sports News.
So stay tuned for that and more on DHS
Sports Center.
And welcome everybody to DHS Sports Center. Today I have the head coach for the boys football and their quarterback, Jackson Hart. Welcome.
Thanks for having us, Ben.
Nice to be here.
Will, nice to be here.
Excellent. So first things first, talk about how is your season going so far?
So we've had, we started off the season, we lost to our arch rivals, Bishop Stang, down the street in a close game. But we steadily improved over the season. We're 4-6 right now. Just coming off a victory over Silver Lake, beat them 36-14. Probably playing our best football that we played all season. So, young team, a lot of new guys starting, first-year starters. So, it probably wasn't the way some of the guys wanted it to go. But I feel like great team with a great attitude, hardworking, and every week they've gotten better. So. We're playing our best football right now heading into Thanksgiving.
Indeed. I was in the booth against the Brockney game with Jim Thompson and Paul Santos. And Jim said that that you guys are a really young team and they're trying to rise and rebuild after losing 13 seniors last year. How has it been this season from losing those seniors and now regaining a lot of new players?
Well, I think the biggest thing is we lost the seniors. Those seniors, most of them started for 2 seasons, right? They started in the spring of the COVID year in 2021, and then they had to play again in the fall of 2021. And most of those guys were two-way starters and for 2 years. So losing that amount of game experience is difficult for any team. So, you say maybe it's a rebuilding year. You don't really have time to rebuild in high school football. High school sports in general, you have to get guys ready to play right away. So we have a lot of, like I said, we have, a lot of new guys starting on both sides of the ball. I think we play 17 guys on offense, so we're playing a ton of guys. And defense, we play probably 12, 13, 14 guys on defense. But it's not easy to do. And so what you see right now is us after 10 games of experience, you start to see the team now playing, guys learn the game, they learn their positions, they're playing good football offensively and defensively and really starting to progress. And the downside of that, it's the end of the season. But for us as coaches, obviously, we just want to see the guys improve from the beginning of the season to the end. And I think that's what we've done. So, and we're looking forward to seeing if we can rebound from last year's loss on Thanksgiving and beating Fairhaven next Thursday.
Will, do you want to say anything?
Yeah, and going back from when you guys started practicing in the summer to where you are now, how far do you think you guys have came, and how different do you think the team was at the beginning of the season to now?
So, I mean, definitely huge strides, right? We've been out since August 19th. We're going on 90 days being with these guys, in a couple days. Today's what, November 17th, right? So Saturday will make it 90 days. So, right now, you're starting to begin the summer and, you get different personnel in the beginning, and then guys evolve and things change and people get more experience and there's competition. I think one of the things we've had this year that maybe didn't have for the last couple seasons, a lot of competition at different positions. So because you didn't have returning starters, right? So really it was a clean slate. Guys stepped up. Certain guys that earned starting positions, and nothing was given to anybody, right? So everybody had to kind of earn their spot. Luke Aronson's out in the audience. He came back, took a year off, came back this year and earned his way into the starting lineup as an example, right? He's starting offensive guard. I mean, those are the things that happen throughout a season. Was he ready week one? No. But now that we're second half of the season, same thing with Jackson. He wasn't starting the first half of the season. He's a sophomore, so now we're in the second half. Well, now he's competed and won the job, right? So and played well in the last couple of weeks. So I mean, the game is all about experience and earning your starting position based on how you perform in practice, right? So practice is what it's all about. We don't just roll them out and say, hey, this is the starting lineup. You get a lot of opportunities to prepare, and the lineup we have for Thanksgiving are the guys who have improved the most or have earned the job the whole season.
So I want to shift gears and talk to Jackson first off. Jackson, this is your sophomore season, and how does it feel being a starter of this football team so far?
Well, it feels great. I've dreamed as a kid to be starting quarterback on any team, and I never played Pop Warner or anything. My parents didn't let me, so I came into freshman and I competed for a job to win that job, and I gained that job last year. But nothing's given to you, so this year I had to come in and compete, and obviously I wasn't good enough, I guess. Not I say good enough, but I didn't compete enough, didn't win the job at the beginning of the season, but I kept working hard, tried to improve as much as I can, and tried to win the job, and it feels great to lead teams to win, and that's what I hope to do.
Yeah, indeed. Before, like you just said, you didn't play Pop Warner. Like, I know some players, including one of the former teachers at Dartmouth Middle School. I think she's now retired now. Her son didn't even play Pop Warner and played Pop Warner in, not Pop Warner, played high school football here at Dartmouth High School. How does it feel like playing football along Coach White and all these other personnel?
Oh, it feels great. Some of the teachers come from the middle school, some from the high school, so people like Coach Dexter, Coach Rossi, you get to know them in middle school, and you come to the high school, you get to know the coaches like Coach White, and it's great to build bonds as you keep going into high school and stuff. And they're a great group of coaches. They've been together a long time. They're really close coaches, and that's what you want to have. You don't want to have any tension between the coaches. You want to have them as friends, and they're really good friends. They always talk to each other. They're always having a laugh during practice, so that's always a good thing to have.
Yeah.
Well, and like you said, you didn't play Pop Warner when you were a kid. Coming from freshman year, going into your sophomore year season, how hard did you have to work to get better and earn that starting spot?
Worked pretty hard. In the summertime, I went to a couple different quarterback things, tried to get better. Obviously, it's different when you're not around the hitting, the tackling, the physicalness as a kid, and so you got to get used to that kind of stuff. So it's obviously different from freshman to varsity. In freshman, it's just you're playing against kids your age, the same kids your age, but when you're at varsity, you're playing against juniors, playing against seniors, kids much older than you. So it's hard to get used to all the physicalness and how different it is.
Speed of the game is
yeah.
much
Speed of the
faster
game.
at the varsity level than it is obviously at the freshman level.
Yeah.
Of course.
Now shifting gears, we're going to be talking about the Thanksgiving game coming up. So, Coach White, would you take it away?
Well, it's a long-standing tradition between us and Fairhaven. I know members of our studio audience, some of their parents played in this game, so it's a huge tradition, and it goes way back to the 30s, and some games were played on Thanksgiving, and previous to that they weren't. When we were both kind of farming, Dartmouth was a farming community, and my great-grandfather actually played in the game in the 30s, and then my father-in-law has played in this game, and I played in the game, and you know, we've coached in the game for a long time. So there's a lot of tradition, a lot of history, a lot of stories that are told about it. But you know, it's something that not every state gets to do.
Yeah.
You know, and it's special in New England that we have the Thanksgiving Day games, and the rivalry with Fairhaven's been great. Now that Coach Almeida's back, Coach Almeida's dad, who was their line coach, was the coach at Fairhaven for a long time, and he and Coach Lynch used to go at it in the Thanksgiving Day rivalries, and they had a great rivalry then. And now his son, Derek Almeida, is the head coach, and who was a coach at Falmouth High School, and he won the state championship at Falmouth. And his dad coaches with him now. So their roles are reversed, where Derek is the head coach and Dana is now the assistant. But though, and then you add Scott Francis, who was the head coach at Fairhaven and has been their athletic director. They have 3 head coaches, former head coaches of Fairhaven High School, or 2 former head coaches plus Derek on their staff now. So they have a lot of experience coaching, and our staff knows their staff. We all coach together in the summer. We coached at a Phase 3 football camp over at Bishop Stang with Coach Golden, Derek, myself, Coach Zexter, and a bunch of their coaches. So we know each other pretty well, and that's what makes it a great rivalry, right? When you're playing Stang and you're playing New Bedford and you're playing Fairhaven, these are the big 3 that nobody wants to lose. So it'll be exciting. It'll be exciting for our seniors. It's their last time to play football for Dartmouth High, so that's a special time for them. And we're on the road. We have to go over there.
So I'm going to talk to Jackson about this one. Starting in your first Thanksgiving game, how are you feeling?
You know, obviously there's a little bit of tension. You know, you want to go out there. It's a big tradition. Obviously, coming off a loss last year, we want to get back in the win column against them. So it feels good. It feels good being part of a big, long tradition that has happened a long time. So love that about that.
Yeah, and you know, Fairhaven, I've been watching all of their film, and they're a really solid, decent team. They have a powerful running back in Justin Marks, probably a D1 running back. Right now he's D3, as far as I know. But anyways,
yeah, he's very good.
He's
He's one of the best backs in the area offensively, and he's one of the best linebackers as well. So he's definitely one of the best players in the South Coast. He's only a sophomore.
Yeah.
He did some damage against us last year when we could try to take away their perimeter game. He's a fullback, so I mean he's very, very good. He broke the touchdown record at Fairhaven this year. So he's the focus for us, for our defense, and Coach Martin to stop him. And in the wishbone offense, they call it a flex bone. So you got to stop the fullback, then the quarterback, then the pitch man. And then they have a good power running game too. And then Jay Stewart can throw the ball pretty well. So they have a lot of weapons. They'll be tough. We have a few former players, sons that are playing. Eddie Reardon's son's playing as a sophomore at Fairhaven. Jason Mora, who played at Army and West Point. His 2 boys play on the team. He's a former Dartmouth grad. So we got some skin in the game over there. So it should be fun.
Excellent, excellent. Well,
So, you know, an excellent rivalry that's been going on for a long time. And coming off a loss from last year playing Fairhaven, how badly do you think the team wants it this year to get back and to get that win on Thanksgiving, you know, especially after last year was a loss?
Yeah, so last year we started the game real well, and then Will Kelly got hurt pretty severely, and the kind of game went downhill in a hurry. So looking to bounce back from that. Fairhaven's had they had an outstanding beginning to their season, I think they were 7-0, and then they lost their last 3 games in a row. They lost to Somerset.
Seekonk and Bishop
They
State.
beat, so Somerset,
Oh, they lost Seekonk.
they beat Seekonk by a field goal. But Somerset, Old Rochester in the playoff, and then they just previously lost, last week lost to Bishop Stang by 1 point. So they've lost 3 in a row, which really doesn't mean anything on Thanksgiving, right? So it's all about who shows up on Thanksgiving and who's ready to play. Those kids, the records go out the window. We're 4-6, they're 7-3. So I'm sure they'll be favored, but you know, again, I told my guys this week, you got to be ready to play at 10 o'clock in the morning. It's a different animal, and it's a different day, and the guys that are ready to go will be the guys who win the game.
But yeah, Thanksgiving too, you know, previously moving on from Thanksgiving, you know, Thanksgiving's an awesome holiday, you know.
Yep.
And getting together, Dartmouth and Fairhaven, this goes on for decades. And usually days before the game, don't you guys have like a team breakfast at like?
Yeah, so Tuesday we'll go over to Fairhaven High. Depending on who the home team is, they host the breakfast. So our cheerleaders, our senior cheerleaders, and our senior football players will go over and they'll host Tuesday morning. We'll go over for breakfast at the school, and we'll have breakfast with them and their coaching staff and their principal and their athletic director, and we'll do the same, and their cheerleading coach. And it's a great tradition, right? So you always respect your opponents, and we have great respect for them. So that's something that's been going on for a long time. The kids will get a tour of the school, and they'll get a chance to talk. Obviously, they've grown up playing against each other in different sports. Maybe it's baseball, basketball, lacrosse, whatever, youth sports. So, you know, we're right down the road, so everybody knows each other. But that's been a great tradition that we've upheld for a long, long time. And then, you know, last year it was at our place, and next year it'll be back at our place again. So yeah, it's the Thanksgiving Day breakfast.
Yeah, it's at you know, not able to eat breakfast before Thanksgiving with the whole entire team. You know, usually
No, it's
post
tough.
Thanksgiving.
Yeah, it's tough. We've been invited to like the pancakes, the waffles, up on Fonts Corner Road, right? But they've offered to give us breakfast the day of the game and things like that. But I think the day of the game, I think most of the guys are in their own zone. You know what I mean? It's pretty early, so we're gonna be heading over there about 8 o'clock in the morning, right? So yeah, we'll have to be prepared to have a fine meal after the game, and hopefully it's a little more enjoyable if we win.
Usually they say turkey tastes good after a win or something.
Oh yeah.
And I hope that we, you know, the Dartmouth and Fairhaven rivalry, great rivalry. Their friendship, it's like a friendship rivalry, and I pretty much like the rivalry more than Stang. No offense to Stang there, but
Yeah.
But yeah. Anyways, Jackson. One more thing before we go, as we would like to say, you know, on your first season as the starting quarterback, are you ready for more after these few more seasons?
Yeah, obviously I'm ready for more. You know, it's not guaranteed though. You know, I still got to go out there and compete next year, the year after, to try to be the quarterback. So, you know, hopefully I'm going to do that, and hopefully I can do that. But
Yeah.
I want to be able to go on a playoff run, win a state championship. Hopefully, as a quarterback, it's the goal. So, I'm going to work my hardest, do everything I can to try to get that goal.
All right. Well, guys, thank you guys for
Thank you
coming
very
on
much.
today, and good luck. Good luck against Fairhaven on Thursday. Anyways, also, folks, stay tuned for that on Dartmouth Community Media. Until then, thank you guys very much.
Thank you very
you,
much.
Ben. Thank you.
Appreciate
Thank you,
it.
Will.
Thanks, Ben. Thanks,
you.
Will. Have a great Thanksgiving.
Thank you. Hello, and welcome to another edition of Will's Weekly Sports News, my segment where we dive into the latest news in all of our favorite professional sports. Let's begin with Week 10 of the NFL. I think we all witnessed the game of the year when two of the top teams in the NFL faced off as the Minnesota Vikings traveled to Orchard Park to play the Buffalo Bills. Highly competitive and a tough matchup, Vikings quarterback Kirk Cousins threw for 357 yards with a touchdown and 2 interceptions, while Bills quarterback Josh Allen threw for 330 yards with a touchdown and 2 interceptions. But the star of this game was not a quarterback, it was Vikings wide receiver Justin Jefferson, who made one of the greatest catches of all time on 4th and 18 to get the Vikings the first down. Outside of that catch, the Vikings would turn the ball over on downs after failing to convert on 4th and goal for the touchdown. And with what was seemingly the last play of the game, Bills quarterback Josh Allen fumbles the snap and the Vikings would recover in the end zone for a touchdown, pushing the game to overtime. In overtime, back and forth between teams, the Vikings would end up on top with a field goal by kicker Greg Joseph to win the game, and a final score of 33-30. Minnesota improves to 8-1 as Buffalo falls to 6-3. Moving past that game, on Monday Night Football, the Washington Commanders shocked everyone and handed the Philadelphia Eagles their first loss of the season. Commanders quarterback Taylor Heineke went 17 for 29 with 211 yards and an interception, while Commanders running back Brian Robinson Jr. had 26 carries for 86 yards and a touchdown. With a final score of 32-21, the Eagles fall to 8-1, now tied at that record with the Vikings, and the Washington Commanders improved to 5-5 on the season. However, they are still last place in the NFC East. Moving on from the NFL, on November 5th, we got a huge super fight that fans were anticipating between Dimitri Bivol and Gilberto Zurdo Ramirez for Bivol's WBA light heavyweight belt. A hard-fought battle between both men ultimately went the distance, where Dimitri Bivol won by unanimous decision. The judges scored the bout 117-111, 118-110, and 117-111. In other news, WBC has recently ordered some very interesting fights. To start, we may just be seeing a heavyweight showdown between the Bronze Bomber himself, Deontay Wilder, fighting the Destroyer, Andy Ruiz Jr. The winner of that fight will most likely challenge Tyson Fury next for his belt. Another fun fight we could see in the future is Shakur Stevenson versus Isaac Cruz, a lightweight matchup that will certainly have all the other lightweights on watch. And continuing with the lightweights, WBC just announced yesterday on November 17th that we will be seeing Gervonta Tank Davis take on Ryan King Garcia in a highly anticipated grudge match that has been rumored for years now. The fight will be taking place in early 2023 in Las Vegas. Switching gears here from boxing to MMA, on Saturday, November 12th, UFC 281 went down in the Mecca, Madison Square Garden in New York City. The main event, a matchup fans knew would end up happening, Israel Adesanya versus Alex Pereira for the undisputed UFC middleweight championship. It's important to note Adesanya, a long-reigning champ in the UFC, had lost to Pereira 2 times in kickboxing. And now, in MMA, when fans thought it was finally Izzy's time to get his revenge, Adesanya would end up getting TKO'd in the 5th round and losing his belt. As an Izzy fan myself, it sucks to see him lose his belt, but congratulations to the new champ Alex Pereira. Along with that championship fight, we saw the Women's Strawweight Championship, when champ Carla Esparza fought Zhang Weili. Esparza was a huge underdog coming into this fight and ended up doing nothing to Weili as she got submitted in round 2. The feature fight on this card was the people's main event, as 2 fan-favorite lightweights, Dustin Poirier and Michael Chandler, clashed for 3 rounds and created an absolute war, going back and forth the entire fight. Both guys took some damage, but ultimately, Dustin Poirier would sneak the choke under Chandler's neck in round 3 and get the submission win. Dustin was really showing off that black belt jiu-jitsu. And finally, transitioning from MMA, the FIFA 2022 World Cup is just around the corner. The first match is Qatar versus Ecuador on Sunday, November 20th. However, as the proud American that I am, I'm rooting for Team USA, who will be taking on Wales in their first match. How could I not vote for my country? After all, America is the greatest country in the world. And that's all for this edition of Will's Weekly Sports News. Stay tuned for next episode.
Thank you all for watching today's episode of DHS Sports Center. Stay tuned for our next episode where we have the big on-location FIFA World Cup show at Max's.
If you like DHS Sports Center and you want to see more, subscribe to DHS TV Media on YouTube. Like the video and turn on the bell notification so you get notified when DHS Sports Center is posted on YouTube.
See you next time on DHS
Sports Center.